Welcome back to r/neighbors from hell, where people share stories about their crazy neighbors. And if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community. And without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. The first one is titled Trespass and Park in a Farmer's Driveway Without Permission. You will get a truckload of manure on top of your convertible. My father had always been a polite and kind-hearted man, but he is as sharp as a tack and you should watch out for him. I could never get away with anything when I was a teenager. One of my favorite stories to tell about him is the time that he got his ultimate revenge on this douche lawyer from the city. It started with our hometown forming a public national park next to our property. I will admit that I love the park and walk there frequently. It helped raise our property value a ton as well. Dad and I had always used it as our form of bonding and therapy before it was an actual park, and would often go fishing at the large lake that exists a few miles north of the park. Our very long driveway runs about 10 or 12 yards in front of the park entrance. A few feet on the other side of the driveway is a ravine and then our fields. The city carved out a little gravel parking area, maybe 100 yards from the entrance. For most people, this is enough, and you know, they are there to exercise, so what is wrong with walking a little further to get to the entrance? Well, one day, some fancy pants sporty convertibles started showing up parked in our driveway. I guess to be exact, half of it was. But still, Dad could not get his tractor around it one day because it would roll into the ravine. It ended up costing him almost an entire day's work, and when it comes to farming, that is a big frickin' deal. Dad lingered near the vehicle for over 2 hours waiting for the man to come back. He was really polite about it. I remember being about 15 and sitting in the tractor watching and listening to the conversation.
"I can park wherever I want,"
he said with an arrogant tone. Let's call this guy Jerk.
"Now I'm going to need you to get away from my car. I'm sure it's worth more than your house."
He climbed into his convertible over the door like an a-hole, trying to look cool, and started it up, putting on his sunglasses, and peeled out so fast it sent gravel flying and hitting Dad and the tractor. I could see Dad fighting the urge to get upset, readjusting his head calmly after being pelted by rocks. My father was not used to being blatantly disrespected by men like that. In our small town, people are generally kind and good to each other, especially the farmers. However, not this guy. He is not from here, we can tell. Turns out we were right. The car was back the following week. After discreetly inspecting the license plate, which was hotshot, I was able to see what county the vehicle was registered in, which was a bigger city not too far outside of our town. When the car was parked in our driveway a second time in 1 week, Dad was pretty pissed. He really needed to accomplish his work today, or he would end up behind for the first time ever in his farming career. The jerk seemed to take hours to return to his car that day. When he finally did get there, he seemed absolutely irritated that we were waiting for him.
"What are you doing by my car again?"
He ran up to it and started inspecting the paint job for any marks or dents. "Sir, I need you to please stop parking in my driveway. I need to get past you, and when you park here I cannot," said my father, but the jerk cut him off.
"I don't care what you say, I can park here if I want to."
He opens the door and gets into the car the normal way this time.
"Now please, would you kindly F off and leave me alone about it before I sue you?"
He peeled out again, throwing rocks onto us and the tractor. Father was red in the face and shaking. Let's get back to work. He just wanted to carry on and forget about it. The summer ended and I was going back to school, so I could not help Dad with farm work anymore. One day when I was on the bus on the way home, I looked behind us to see Jerk in his sports car with a very pretty woman. She was beautiful, with long blonde hair that whipped around as the wind from the convertible caught it. She was laughing as the douche man must have made terrible jokes. It was obvious that they were headed towards the park/my house. When I got off the bus, he was pulling up behind me, skipping the usual parking spaces, and headed down our driveway. I stood in his way and refused to move, making him stop the car.
Get out of the way, you little jerk!
he yelled, earning him a strange look from his female passenger. I just stood there staring at him. He threw his car in park and got out. As he walked up to me aggressively, I was not quite sure what he was going to do. He got close to my face, as close as he could because he was shorter than me, even at 15 years old.
I already told your dad that I would sue him if you guys kept this up. In case you couldn't tell, I'm a pretty successful lawyer, and it would not be anything for me to take your old man to court. And now move.
He gets back into his car and we stare each other down for another 30 seconds or so before I decide to head back to the house. So, he is some hotshot lawyer, huh? I started looking into this. I hop on the internet. Yeah, I'm not that old. The internet and Facebook were a pretty established thing when I was 15, and start looking at lawyers in the city where he is from. It took a while and I had to sacrifice some important homework time, but I managed to pull it off. His name was Martin Hotshot Thompson, and I suppose he was a little bit of a big deal as far as lawyers are concerned in a somewhat big city. Either way, he is still a douchebag. Something else I discovered was that the pretty blonde woman he was with today was not his wife. Ha! I think this is some important info to keep in my back pocket. Another day or two passes and Martin Hotshot Thompson shows up again in our driveway. He is alone this time though. Right before Jerk showed up, we had a big truck show up to pick up a bunch of cow crap. Yeah, we also have cows on top of crops. A few times a year, Dad made a pretty good profit off of cow poop since people like to use it for fertilizer. The problem that comes from Jerk showing up after the truck came is that this truck full of poop cannot get around his pretty little sports car now. The driver walked to the back of the house to tell us that he could not get past a vehicle parked on the side of the driveway. Dad had known this guy for a few years now, and I would say they are kind of friends. He tells his buddies about the BS that Hotshot had put him through, and he chuckles and asks Dad if he is interested in getting some payback. Dad and the driver head back down the gravel driveway and put their revenge plan in motion. The truck was pretty full of manure, maybe a little too much, so we shook quite a bit of the overflow on top of the convertible. Even with how little the amount appeared coming out of the truck, once it was in the car, it seemed to fill it up in a hurry. We all laughed till our sides hurt and waited for the man to return to his vehicle. The amount of drama that followed was truly hilarious. Hotshot's face was well worth all of it too. His eyes nearly bugged out of his head when he saw all the cow poop in his car. The fact that we are all sitting there laughing was even better. He fumed and screamed a bunch of hardly understandable curse words. When he opened the car door, tons of manure fell out onto his nice running shoes. Dad was nearly crying with laughter, casually pulled an old gardening trowel out of his back pocket and handed it to him. Here, you can borrow a shovel. The three of us howled with laughter again, and Jerk smacked the trowel onto the ground. He took a moment to hand scoop mounds of it out of the driver's seat so he could peel out like usual. We did not hear from Jerk until about a week later when he showed up again. This time Dad was not home and the a-hole was waiting in the driveway when I got off the bus. He had a yellow folder of papers. He handed me the folder saying that these were for my father, that he was suing us for dumping all that poop onto his car. I see that you got it cleaned up just fine, I said, clearly making an observation.
What do you care? Make sure your dad gets though.
I cut him off rudely like he did with my dad. I'm not giving him anything. You wanna know why? I saw you with that pretty blonde lady, but I figured out that's not your wife. He was clearly surprised.
How do you know?
He started saying, his eyes big with shock. I'm a kid with internet access. It's not that hard to figure out when you have a Facebook, stupid. I handed him his folder of papers back and turned on my heel and walked up the driveway towards my house. Proud as hell of myself, to be honest. Hotshot got in his sports car and drove away that day, never coming back. And ripe stars, if you have ever lived or still live in the countryside and have similar stories to share, maybe not about dumping cow manure on a convertible, but just anything that is pretty much city people versus farmers, then please feel free to share your own story in the comments, which is very much appreciated. Thank you so much. In addition, it would be awesome if you could also like the video, because as usual recently we pretty much always reach 1000 plus likes and that helps me tremendously. Thank you so much. New project manager wronged me, I shut down our entire organization. I work in a large community center that is non-profit. We have tons of stuff like children's daycare, open college, physiotherapy for seniors and disabled people. We got 6 huge apartment buildings for senior citizens throughout the city, activities for immigrants and unemployed people, we got cafeterias and a restaurant and even more. Now, I love my job. I got promotion after promotion. I started to be an IT tech support person, but I was the only IT guy in the whole organization. When I started, we got maybe like 80 people working there, including the teachers in our open college, and today we are over 200 strong. So anyway, it is a relaxed and non-toxic work environment. As I got tons of work to do as I'm alone with everything that runs with ones and zeros, I have to plan my work a little bit different than the rest of the bunch. So I have 100% flexible work times, meaning I work when I see fit. I am on salary, they pay me once a month and not hourly. The executive director approves this as I can maintain the whole organization's IT infrastructure without any downtime. I come and go as I see best for me doing my job. This worked fine for about 12 years or so, everyone was happy and I was respected because not only did I get the job done, but my job did not cause any downtime on IT at all. The only downtime was an hour or less if someone's workstation broke down. I always had spare time ready to go, and I also was 24/7 on call and went to the office in the middle of my vacations if needed, and I was able to go. I worked on weekends and sometimes nights on work weeks just to get things done, so there's no downtime at office hours. That time in my career, we had a pretty massive amount of servers, 8 server machines just for Microsoft stuff, 4 Linux servers and a couple BSDs for open college. I had a maintenance routine divided to small maintenance that I did after office hours and large maintenance that I did after office hours and continued through the night, and the huge ones that needed me to live at the office. Agreements that whenever I had to work more than 8 hours, I would get paid leave instantly on the